Welcome back, it's Ryzen, and today I wanted to talk about Baam from Tower of God. I recently caught up to the webtoon. I think it is currently on chapter 509. I could be wrong about that, but it's somewhere around that ballpark, so that's kind of where I'm operating with. And I really enjoyed it, and I think that there is a lot to say about it in terms of its characters and its world building, but a lot of that has actually already been said. But I think one thing that has crucially been underrated is Baam himself and the kind of journey that he goes through throughout the entirety of the series. I haven't seen too many people talk about it. I think a lot of people focus again on the world and the side characters and all of that stuff because the lore is actually really insane. But I think for me, my favorite part of the story was Baam himself, and I think I kind of have a lot to talk about in regards to him. So yeah, if you enjoy anime and manga content, I have a ton on the channel, so be sure to check it out and subscribe if you're interested. And if at any point throughout this video you are enjoying it, a like rating would be very much appreciated. So yeah, let's kind of get into this discussion. I kind of wanted to start from the very beginning when Baam was in the cave with Rachel. And at this point, it's already starting out in a very unique place because Baam has absolutely nothing. He has no concept of reality. He has no goals, no ambitions. He has nothing. And, throughout the entirety of Tower of God, it is implied that, not even implied, it's just flat out confirmed that these characters can live for hundreds of years, right? And not age. And so we have no idea. I don't think it's been confirmed at all how long Baam was in that cave, but you can assume it's been at least hundreds of years of just him in that cave completely by himself with nothing. And it's very unnatural for a person or even like anything to be isolated for that amount of time. It's unnatural for somebody to even live that long, let alone be isolated, And so his kind of perspective on reality was warped. I mean, if we compare the time that he's been climbing the tower to the time that he's been in that cave, the time that he spent in the tower can almost be negligible, when you compare the two. And when you really think about it like that, you kind of understand where Baam is coming from with the importance that he places on Rachel. Now, Rachel is somebody who comes into his life and he meets her, and she's just this literal ray of light, right? And it goes beyond like romance. It goes beyond like a mother son relationship. It goes beyond a like older sister younger brother relationship. It's pretty much everything. Rachel at that point is his literal world. That's his wife in his eyes, that's his mother, that's his older sister, that's his younger sister, that's his daughter. That's literally everything to him. This time that he spends with Rachel is pretty much the only quality time he's ever had with any human being in his entire life. And so when he enters the tower and Rachel leaves him and he's gone, he's literally a blank slate at this point. He has no personality, no ambition, no drive. And this is really rare for a protagonist to have. I don't think I've ever seen a protagonist like that. And in my opinion, the story definitely does suffer from it, especially in season 1, where Baam is just like a total square. He has no interesting qualities or traits except for his bravery and loyalty to Rachel, which pretty much every main character has, bravery and loyalty. And so as a reader, we're put in this awkward situation where pretty much in season 1, the only character that you care about is really going to be like Kun, Rak, and maybe a couple others like Endorsi, Hats, Anak, but in general, you're pretty much not caring about Baam at all. And then, Rachel happens. She pushes him over the edge, and this is, I think, the biggest plot twist of season 1. I think it's not controversial to say that. Probably one of the biggest plot twists in the series in general, where we see Rachel betraying Baam. And at that point, Baam is completely broken, right? It's like your mother in real life, just like trying to kill you or something. I don't know, some crazy stuff like that. And we now see Baam gets adopted by Fug, and they're pretty much grooming him to be their god, right? And at this point, I think Baam's character goes through these different phases. So this is where we exit the kind of blank slate phase and we enter the god phase, to where Baam is trying to become this god. He's doing it not only to appease Fug. I don't think he's doing it to appease Fug at all, actually. He's doing it to protect the people that he cares about, the people that he met in the tower, who at this point are the only people that he knows for sure genuinely care about him. And so it's really interesting. And as season 2 progresses, we see him like actively state that, you know, he wants to be a god to protect his friends, but he doesn't want to be a god for all of these people at Fug. Especially at that point in the workshop battle, when they're playing the game where they have to like plug in the thing into the outlet, and then these people like make way to let him through, and they're just like, oh, you are our god who's going to deliver us. And then I'm pretty sure he just like attacks them or something. He's like, hey, I'm not your god. But it is pretty much implied that he wants to be a god for his friends, which is really interesting. And you know, as the series goes on, especially we see it in dialogue with Baam and Kun, to where Kun is telling Baam, like, you don't have to be a god, you can just be a human, you could be somebody, you know, just be our friend, that's all we're asking. And Baam is continuously realizing that he doesn't want that. He wants to be so far above all of his friends that he acts as like a protector to them, a literal god. And but at that point, can he still even be friends with them, or will he have ascended to something that is like so far beyond that their relationship cannot even be considered friendship anymore? And I think that whole concept that season 2 plays upon is really fascinating. It's really good because like I think of it, I kind of try to relate it to real life. I don't know, I have this like habit of always like relating like anime and manga stuff into real life. But I think of just two people, right? They're friends, and they're both completely broke. They have no money. And one of the friends, right, what he wants to do is he wants to enter, let's just say the business world, right? He wants to go and rise to the top, pretty much become the next Jeff Bezos, the next whatever, so that he can provide for the rest of his friends, right? But at this point, in order to do that, you can't be, you know, spending time with them. You can't be doing this. You have to be out and about. You have to be, you know, doing all this stuff, making all this money. You pretty much put yourself in a completely different world from them. And at one point, you can no longer see eye to eye with them. You are just so far removed from their society, from who they are, that you just become an entirely different person from them. And at that point, what emotional support can you offer them if you can't put yourself in their situation? Like, imagine like Jeff Bezos trying to talk to a homeless guy and offer him emotional support. Like, that's just not happening, right? It doesn't work like that. And it's kind of interesting because that's kind of like what Baam is trying to do. And then Kun is telling him, but wait, you can't do that. You know, you don't have to do that. You don't have to go through all that. All I need is your emotional support. So going back to the analogy, the two broke guys, at least they have each other. They may not be able to support each other financially, but you know, they can be there with each other the whole time, emotional support, all of that stuff. And it's really fascinating because, like, which one would you value more? Would you value somebody who can provide you that financial support, but in terms of emotional support, in terms of spending time with you, in terms of understanding you, they're just not there? Or would you value somebody more who understands you, who's there for you all the time, 24/7, and is able to connect with you and talk with you, but they can't support you financially? You know, it's really interesting. It kind of plays upon that kind of idea. Hopefully I didn't get too confusing there with the analogies. But anyways, another thing that really interested me about Baam is I think this was like near the end of season 2. I think it was after the Hidden Floor arc. Correct me if I'm wrong. When Baam fights Rachel, and he literally straight up tells her, like, yeah, if you want to go back to that hole, I'm down. Like, when I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? So like at this point, like after going through all of this years of, you know, suffering with Fug, and then, you know, reuniting with his best friends, climbing the tower for years with Kun and Rak, he would literally be willing to drop it all and go back to the hole with Rachel and just live there, even after all the terrible things that Rachel has done. It's just, it really speaks volumes on how important that time was that Rachel spent with him in that hole. And I think this is something in Tower of God in general, to where you don't really realize how important and how much power something has in the story until much later. Like, another example of that is Yuri giving Baam the Black March. Like, you think about it, like at the time you were like, oh, okay, Princess is just giving him a super powerful sword, what's the big deal, whatever. But like, now, knowing what we know now about the 13-month series, having all of that into perspective, holy crap, Yuri, like, she literally gave this random, what she thought to be a regular, a literal weapon of the 13-month series. Like, that is just insane to me. I honestly can't believe that she did that. Also, the level of power that a ranker has is something that wasn't really conveyed all that well in the beginning, like in season 1. Like, I genuinely thought in the beginning of season 2 when Viol popped up, I thought he was ranker level already, you know? And then now we realize the true gap in skill between like rankers and regulars. It's literally like a 2-year-old girl versus like The Rock. That's literally what it's like. Like, they just have no chance, and stuff like that wasn't really conveyed that well in the beginning. And I think Baam's relationship with Rachel is just another example of that. Like, just their relationship was seriously undersold, and you know, now knowing what we do now, the full context of the story, seeing Baam say these things is just, it's crazy. So back to the phases that I was trying to get to. So first phase, we have Baam just being like this completely blank slate. He has nothing, he has no one. We then have him, you know, just chasing Rachel. Pretty much Rachel is his driving force of life. That's all that matters to him. We then have his jovial grace, his edgy fug type of life that he lives, and that's where he tries to become a god. And then throughout season 2, he's kind of having this conflict of God or man. Which one do I do? Who am I? Like, who truly am I? Am I a god? Am I a man? I don't know. And he's just fighting with that the whole time. And then in his fight with young Jihad in the hidden floor station, eventually he reaches a point where he says, you know what? I just don't care. I don't care if I'm a god. I don't care if I'm a man. I'm gonna just be me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna just do whatever I want. And then I actually really like this because the way it was done in that fight was just tremendous. I mean, if you read the webtoon, you know how good that fight was. But like, he just said, I'm gonna just be me. And, you know, I thought that was going to continue and carry over throughout the entirety of the series, but it actually doesn't. He kind of had this like epiphany for a moment where he was just like, yeah, at this moment, I don't care if I'm a god, if I'm a man, I'm gonna just do what I want. And then, you know, we have that fight, and then we have what happens with Jin Sung Ha, right? When his master gets captured and taken away. And then at that point, I think that's what drives him over the edge of, yeah, I truly now no longer care about the struggle that I'm having, this internal conflict between God and man. I don't care anymore. At this point, I only care about saving my master. So now I'm going to only, you know, do what I want. And that's what, you know, fully drives him over that edge to forget about those concepts and truly just be who he is, which I think was really, really well done. And then we go into season 3, and I don't know if this is just me, I haven't really seen anybody else talk about it, but pretty much all of Baam's dialogue feels completely different. Like, he feels like he's talking with so much more confidence. He literally feels like a whole new person, to be honest. And especially when you compare him to season 1, like season 1 and season 3 Baam are literally opposites, polar opposites. And I've never really seen a character change so drastically. And usually when they do have such drastic changes, it's kind of like an instantaneous thing, kind of like, I don't know, it just kind of happens, and then it's like, okay, I guess they're completely different now. But the way SIU does it, the way he slowly drags it on and has this like super long lasting internal conflict within Baam is just, I think it's beautiful, to be honest. And I haven't really seen anything portrayed quite like that. And then now we're getting into this part in the story where I don't even know who Baam is anymore. I'm at the point now, what's currently happening in the story, the last chapter I read that came out last week, was Baam fighting White, and he did the transformation with like the black horns. And at this point, I don't even know what's going through that guy's head. He's just kind of going crazy. Like, I don't know if he's going back to the whole god versus man. I don't know if he's like, you know what, I want to be a god now, because his power is kind of encroaching on that domain. But like, man, only time will tell, I guess. And I just kind of wanted to share my ideas and my thoughts on Baam's whole growth and how he, kind of progresses from nobody, no ambition, no sorts of drive, nothing, to being somebody who wants to become a god, to being somebody that wants to become a human, to being somebody who wants to truly be himself, I think is really interesting. And if you enjoyed the discussion, please be sure to leave a like, as it really will help out the channel. And subscribe for more discussions. I intend on going over Rachel and Kun and maybe some other characters as well. Have a great day, and thank you for making it to the end. Peace out, guys.